Hola, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días, buenas tardes, o buenas noches. Hello and welcome to today's video. So, you're planning on going to a trip to a Spanish-speaking country, or maybe you live in a Spanish-speaking country. Well, these are words and phrases you need to know in order to have basic communication with the people in the Spanish-speaking countries that you're going to. So, I hope this video helps. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. Also, if you want to join my Spanish learning community, click the link in the video description. It is seriously awesome. We have hundreds of students in there, and I think you'll get a lot of value from it. So check that out by clicking the link in the video description. All right, first, perdón. Probably the most important phrase or word you need to know when traveling in a Spanish-speaking country. Now, perdón is very versatile. This could mean pardon, it could mean excuse me, it can also mean sorry. If I bump into someone, ay, perdón, sorry, excuse me. It can also mean perdón, excuse me, hey, you're trying to get someone's attention, right? Perdón, okay? So perdón is very, very versatile. In fact, I just went to Japan and I learned the phrase for excuse me, which is sumimasen, and it was probably the thing I said the most. It was very, very useful, okay? Perdón. ¿Dónde está? Where is? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? And then you can point, or if you know the word, then you can try and say it, but ¿dónde está is very useful, right? As we know, the famous phrase, ¿dónde está el baño, right? Where is the bathroom? ¿Dónde está el baño? ¿Cuándo? When? ¿Cuándo? Okay, so this can be used when asking, hey, when can I check in? And check-in in Spanish would just be el check-in. That's perfectly fine. People understand you. ¿Cuándo es el check-in, for example? ¿Cuándo es el evento? When's the event? Things like that. ¿Cómo? Now this one's important, okay? You may have learned that ¿cómo can mean like or as in Spanish. It can also mean how. In this case, ¿cómo means what. So if you don't understand what someone says to you, don't say ¿qué? You can say ¿qué? And people understand what you mean, but it's more polite and respectful to say ¿cómo? So don't say ¿qué? If you don't understand something. Say ¿cómo? ¿Cómo? No entiendo. ¿Cómo? What? I don't understand. ¿Cuánto? Not to be confused with cuándo, right? Just a one-letter difference there. ¿Cuánto? Meaning how much, okay? So you could say ¿cuánto cuesta? Meaning how much does it cost? But this is kind of the simple fail-safe way to ask how much something costs, how much of something, okay? ¿Cuánto? ¿Cuánto? You could also say ¿cuánto es? Let's say you go to the market, you find something nice. ¿Cuánto? ¿Cuánto es? Or ¿cuánto cuesta? Okay? And then they will say to you, 200 pesos or whatever. Okay? ¿Está bien? Now, you might think that this means, are you okay? Which it can mean. But this just means, is it okay? Like, ¿está bien? Is that okay? Is it okay? ¿Está bien? So if you go to pay or something and you're leaving a tip and you say, oh yeah, like, ¿está bien? This is okay. It's ¿está bien? Okay? ¿Está bien? Por favor, please. Por favor, please. Okay, I think most of us know that one. No entiendo. I don't understand. Okay, no entiendo. Don't say no comprendo. Okay, I was taught this when I was younger, but no comprendo means I don't comprehend. Kind of like a more difficult thing to comprehend. You know, I can't comprehend the meaning of life. Okay, here we're just trying to say I don't understand. Okay, no entiendo. Okay, ay, perdón, no entiendo. I don't understand. Inglés. Now, you could say habla inglés or hablas inglés. That also works great. But just the most basic, easy thing to remember and, survival Spanish here. Inglés, just implying, hey, do you speak English? Inglés, okay? A lot of people in Mexico City, for example, will know English. But if you go to other parts of Mexico and Latin America, it's possible that they won't know much English. Lo siento, I'm sorry. Now, perdón can also be translated as I'm sorry, but lo siento is a bit more strong. Like, I'm so sorry for your loss, or, oh, I'm so sorry that I did that. Whereas perdón is like, oh, like, forgive me, excuse me, okay? Actually, the verb perdonar means to forgive, okay? This literally means, by the way, I feel it. I feel it. Lo, meaning it. I feel it, or sorry. Gracias, which I think we know. Gracias, thank you. The word gracia actually means grace, okay? It can also mean that someone's kind of funny. Ese güey tiene gracia. That guy is funny. Tiene gracias. Tiene gracia. Me llamo, my name is, or soy, I am, okay? Me llamo literally translates to I call myself. I call myself Nate. Me llamo Nate. Or you could say, soy Nate. I am Nate. Okay, both work. All right, I'm going to move over here. Buenos días. Good morning. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Buenas noches. Good night. Now, it's common that here in Mexico City, people will just say to you, buen día. Typically, we'll say this in the morning, but you can use it whenever. Buen día. Good day. Okay? Buen día. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Of course, you can just say hola to people, but it's very common here in Mexico City that we will say buenos días, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. Yes, you can greet people with a simple hola. People don't really say hola, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, people do, but it's more common that someone will just say buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Okay? Soy de, I am from, or literally translating to I am of, which sounds a little odd, but I am from. Soy de California. Soy de California. Or soy de Estados Unidos. I am from the United States. Okay, these are really important. Tarjeta and efectivo. Tarjeta is card, okay, credit card. You could say tarjeta de crédito, but everyone will know what you mean if you just say tarjeta. Efectivo, cash. Now, as we know, in Latin American countries, it is very common that they are heavily dominated by efectivo, by cash. So make sure that you always have a little cash on hand. If you're in Mexico, you don't need large amounts. You could have $40 on you, that's plenty. Unless you're maybe with more people and you're paying exclusively cash, then maybe it's a good idea to have some more on you, okay? Efectivo, okay? Now, when you go to pay, you can ask them for la cuenta, the bill. La cuenta, por favor. So everything we've learned, we could say, perdón, la cuenta, por favor. Gracias. Okay? Boom. You're speaking Spanish. All right? So that's to ask for the bill. Terminal. This is important. Okay? This could be referring to like a train terminal or a plane terminal. But most times when you go to pay, they'll ask you con terminal, meaning do you want to pay with a card, like a card reader? They have these like little devices, and that's where you scan your card or you enter your card, okay? So if they ask you con terminal, you'll say sí, por favor, or sí, con terminal. Or no, con efectivo. Okay, muy bien. All right? Terminal, okay? Propina, tip. Here in Mexico City, it's very common to tip 10 to 15%. 10 is kind of the baseline, 15 is you had really nice service, 20 is you had really incredible service, okay? Vacaciones, vacation. Now, it's not vacación, it's vacaciones, okay? So, estoy de vacaciones. I'm on vacation. Estoy de vacaciones, okay? I'm on vacation. Excellent. 23, quiero, I want. Yo quiero, whatever. Now, notice in Spanish, we can say yo quiero, yo meaning I, which is a subject pronoun. However, in Spanish, because we conjugate verbs, meaning we take them from their infinitive form and place them into their conjugated form, now I understand that this means I want because I understand basic conjugation rules. And if you don't know much about conjugation, then feel free to learn more by going and checking out YouTube videos on this channel. Or once again, you can go to my Spanish community by clicking the link in the video description, and myself, along with your peers, can teach you how verb conjugations work. Okay? Quiero, I want. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? ¿Qué es esto? What is this? Eso, okay, so eso, E-S-O, means that. ¿Qué es eso? What is that? Okay, whereas this is, what is this? Now, you might see this O at the end and think that this is masculine, but esto is not a masculine word. This is actually the neuter in Spanish. The masculine would be este, so este marcador, for example, this marker, esta botella, this bottle, for example, and esto. We use this when we don't know what we're talking about, or if the thing we're talking about is kind of just a general idea that doesn't necessarily have a gender. For example, esto es un lío. This is a mess, like this situation is a mess, okay? Para aquí, for here. Para llevar, to go, literally to take, okay, to take away, okay? So, it's very normal, you go to a restaurant, hola, dos personas, por favor. Okay, para aquí o para llevar. Ah, para aquí, por favor. Okay, muy bien, adelante, Okay? For here, to go. Bolsa. If you order food and they want to know if you want to, have food, you can just say bolsa, por favor, like a bag. You can also say, if you have a meal and you're not going to eat everything, but you still want it, you can just point and just say para llevar, por favor, para llevar. Or this is a little more complicated, but you can say usted me lo puede poner para llevar, por favor. Like, can you put it for me to go, please? Okay, but you can just say para llevar, and then people understand what you're trying to say. Okay, bolsa just meaning bag. Hasta luego. It's very common that here in Mexico, when we say goodbye to people, we'll just say hasta luego, meaning see you later or until later. So hasta luego. You can say adios, but it is very common to hear hasta luego, at least here in Mexico City. No tengo or tengo. So no tengo, I do not have, or tengo, I have. So let's say you go to a restaurant, you forgot some cash, and the restaurant, the people say to you, hey, it's cash only. You say, lo siento, no tengo. I'm sorry, I don't have any. No tengo. Okay? You don't have to say no tengo efectivo. You can, and that makes sense. But you can just say no tengo. I don't have any. Okay? Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, very important to know if you're saying, hey, for 2 people, or I want 2 of those, or 4 of those, or whatever. So we have uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Okay? Pretty basic. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Más, meaning more. So, más, por favor. That could mean más agua, more water, or that could be más comida, por favor. That could be whatever. Okay? Más bebidas. Okay? More. And finally, sin. So when you go to a restaurant and you want to order something, but you don't want it to have cheese, for example, because you're lactose intolerant, say sin queso, por favor. Sin queso. Don't say no queso, okay? People will understand you, but it's better to say sin, meaning without, okay? Sin queso, por favor. Sin carne, por favor. Without meat. No meat, please. Okay? So if you don't want something in your food, say sin. Don't say no. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. Espero que tú hayas aprendido algo nuevo. Like I said, if you want to learn more Spanish from me, click the link in the video description so you can join my Spanish learning community. And I really do appreciate it if you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends and enemies. Bueno, muchas gracias y espero que tengas muy buen día. Hasta luego.